let's go ahead and dive into our first topic, E3 2021 predictions. I'm going to start with Chili. Chili's in the hot seat. Go ahead. What do you think's going to happen? Anything goes.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the Souls-like Final Fantasy game that's going to be announced this month. It's supposed to be like Demon Souls style game. It's supposedly the rumored title is Final Fantasy Origins, and it's being done by Team Ninja. So, apart from that, I'm excited to see the new Fable game and more Halo Infinite actual content. So,
is it Halo Infinite a game that's been on your radar? Like, is that something you're going to take time
to
play?
Yeah, I'll probably pick up an Xbox for that. That's one of the games that I will get me to buy an Xbox. I could run it on my PC, I could run it on xCloud, but I like to own the hardware when there's a game that I enjoy. It's the reason why I bought Switch for Pokemon. Yeah, PlayStation I just buy because work reasons, and I like the games. But Halo is one of those games that once it comes out, that's when I buy an Xbox.
All right, that's right. So, anything else?
I just want to see what Sony brings to the table because we know that Microsoft has a lot of big names coming out. So I just want to see what Sony's going to do to counter. There's been rumors about a Game Pass coming to PlayStation. So not Game Pass itself, but Sony's version of Game Pass.
I was like, I would love Game Pass to come to PlayStation. That'd be great because Phil says that Bethesda games will be on whatever platform has Game Pass. Your
phone, PC, and Xbox.
For now, we'll see. Chris, let's go with you, man. Like, what are you looking forward to? What do you hope to see? What are your predictions?
If you add marketing dollars, do you think Halo Infinite has crossed the billion yet? Do you think they are a game that has the B for a non-live service game? And then the fact that they're saying it's going to be free in Game Pass. At one point they were talking about the PvP type, content being somewhat accessible, maybe with gold at one point was, I think, thrown around.
They've announced that it's free. Like, you can play.
I am super nervous about the word free being applied to anything that costs a profit-driven company $1 billion, because what that means is microtransactions.
Oh, they're there.
Because it has to get paid for.
Yeah.
It has to get paid for. And so, like, I would rather them say this is Halo Infinite. This is going to be a 10-year title. The last one has basically lasted that long at this point unintentionally. Let's make it $70 or $80, and then we'll never ask you for money again. That's what I want, because I know that $70 or $80 is nothing compared to how many years I'm going to play it. Them giving it to me for free is and you're going to owe me. I don't want to owe you.
They're only giving you the multiplayer for free.
I'm really nervous about how, like, for any of you that have played recent Call of Duties, I like Call of Duty games. But Call of Duty games, when you log in, is just like ad after ad after ad. It's like, I just want to get to gameplay, and I'm just being marketed at constantly. And that is a game you pay for. So I'm really nervous that Halo is going to be this just wonderful experience that they're like, okay, but we've learned that we can cover 80% of the screen with ads without causing seizures. And so I just don't want that. That's a movie quote for anybody that doesn't know. Other than that, Square Enix, I think there will be Avengers expansion news. There's been rumors of the new Final Fantasy game. I don't like the word Origins being thrown around, especially in a game that they're not building in-house like the numbered games. There's going to be like another team working on that, and I think Origin is like Ninja. A word where like now that's important long term. And so like there's a lot of trust to put in.
Origins too.
Like, oh, Origins. I'll just play Origin. Is that
the thing is that they already technically have game? They already have a Fantasy Origins. It was on the PS1. It was Fantasy 1 and 2 bundled together.
I don't like that word being thrown around. I think it's too strong of a word.
I agree.
Origins 3, Origins 16. What the hell, man?
And then for me, it's just a question of as everybody else comes out and makes announcements, what all's going into Game Pass? Because as we get into PSO2 here, like when time is a valuable resource as is, it's a big question of like, are you going to cost me anything? And with Game Pass, it gets really easy for games to be like, no, we're getting paid, but don't you worry about it. Xbox picked up the tab.
What about you, Sora? What do you got?
I don't know. I'm excited to see what Xbox does bring to the table. Personally, I've never owned an Xbox. I just use the apps on the PC. But seeing what comes to Game Pass that I can download to the PC and play there, I'm excited about. What Square comes out with. And if you look at the schedule, like I told you last night, Brian, it's on June 13th, the day 2, it's Xbox, then Square immediately after. If they don't make some kind of 14 announcement for Xbox in that time frame, I don't know why it would be one right after the other.
That's our set.
It won't be
Endwalker
Endwalker is what it will be. It won't be Endwalker.
No,
it won't be Endwalker, which means there's no,
And then also on the 15th, Bandai Namco coming out and doing something. So hopefully that's a Blue Protocol release date or closed beta date or something. Just I'm excited to see what happens there.
Yeah, Blue Protocol is looking gorgeous, and the question is then how's it feel? Like I don't see going hands-on. I don't see that game coming to the West until 2022, just based off of how like the world has gone and development has gone. But I could see it launching in Japan first. Now we do know Blue Protocol is going global. Like they've already announced that it supports controllers. And honestly, like everything they've kind of shown off is like, yeah, this game is looking really good. And they even just added a 5th class. So that tells me that they're continually looking at iterating the system. And that's exciting to see. Plus, when I watch a Blue Protocol, what I call live letters, they haven't really labeled them that. It does feel like PSO and Final Fantasy got together and had an anime baby. And like it just feels like, here's a playbook. Let's follow the Yoshi P playbook. Oh, here's Phantasy Star Online 2. It's doing really well. Like, how can we marry these two ideas together to have this like really awesome experience? And so I think Blue Protocol is definitely going to be a MMO on the list. Does anybody think Amazon's going to show up at all at E3 this year? They got a big game coming out just down the road.
I mean, maybe
they're not a traditional game studio.
We're really
I don't expect them to do anything traditional ever.
Right.
I mean, if they do it at E3, it might not be at E3. They might just be like Nintendo, do its own separate thing.
Yeah. As you guys leave the event, hey, we didn't want to pay to get in.
I'm late. You know,
Nintendo's always like, when did you say your event was ending? Oh my gosh, that's so coincidental. Our treehouse starts right then.
Yeah.
I mean, there is on the 14th Verizon and television. Like, what's Verizon bringing to the table?
Finally, the new console I've wanted.
Right. Could Amazon somehow fit themselves into that? Because I don't think I've ever seen Verizon in an E3. Am I wrong?
I mean, I have no idea. Honestly, have been following the Verizon console. The KFC Verizon hybrid console now.
But that just seems like a time slot or a section where it's, here's some of the other stuff coming from other places.
I'd pair that with any kind of cloud gaming announcement. Verizon has lots of
string with cloud gaming.
Yeah, so if anything else, I would venture to bet that if you're going to see Verizon doing anything within gaming, it's going to be cloud-based because of especially with their fiber optic backbone of Fios, which Chris has, and I don't have fiber optic right now, so I'm a little bit jealous.
It's so nice.
If I had the bankroll of Amazon and the promise from Amazon that they're going to let New World play out for a while before pulling the plug, even if it struggles out of the gate, I would not want opening weekend to be any bigger than it has to be. I wouldn't hype it. MMOs are feature light at the beginning. They're known to have server issues. They're known just as a genre. The strength of these long-running genres are typically in games that have had some age to them. Even games that had good launches, typically age is what gives them resilience. And so if somebody at Amazon says, we're giving you 5 years of money regardless, then there is no reason to rush people into year one where they might have a bad experience and not come back. So let the hardcore early adopters hop in and then let the game flesh out based on that feedback as you pick up bugs, and then have huge marketing campaigns going into that first expansion or whatever their model ends up shaping up to be, and say like, oh, we meant to tell you this was really good, and we definitely didn't wait to tell you in case it wasn't. And so I would picture New World at this point. I think it's got enough hype behind it. I wouldn't put any more wind in those sails.
That's a really good point. I completely agree. These games, because no matter what, let's say it's hyped, it's going to have that roller coaster. Oh, it's the new thing. People are checking it out. Oh, I'm going back to 14 or WoW, or I'm going back to my comfort established zone, because you have End of Dragons, you have Endwalker, you've got New Genesis. Like they're coming out in a sea of like, you're established, you already sunk in cost. I'm already invested in X, Y, and Z game. And yeah, so it's like at the end of the day, like, just play fundamentals. Like, if you were going to look at the 14 model, that's what Yoshi P is doing, and why a lot of WoW players are finally starting to check it out. Even big creators that we've even covered this week, is that Final Fantasy XIV has been playing fundamental baseball at its core. It just does the little things right. It builds up to the bigger things, and even has these large things. And thus you look at that and the fact that they have content coming out and expansion coming out this year. And more. And we could sit here and like be frustrated because maybe a feature that we wanted got cut, Ultimate, for example, but they've been playing that. I think in terms of like my predictions overall, what I really want to see is, I want to see what ESO's premium subscription, is that going to be included as a part of Game Pass Ultimate? That to me is kind of this litmus test of what the Game Pass system is. Because if Microsoft has a premium subscription-based game that says you can be actually a part of Game Pass to cover your subscription to ESO, that really says like, we are not messing around. Game Pass is where we want everybody. You can individually sub to this if you choose to, because it's still an optional sub for ESO. But with an expansion launching this year, this is a Microsoft MMO now. With Bethesda and them kind of highlighting those two things, that's massive. Now, Chili, you brought up PlayStation, and I don't see PlayStation making any announcements, of course, over the E3.
They've got no big announcements yet. So I'm guessing a State of Play will come out, because I don't think they're even at E3, are they? It looks like
they pulled out E3 like 2 years ago. Right, they pulled out E3 a while ago. So
I'm guessing
the year
State
before
of Play,
they pulled out, they still didn't show up. So
yeah.
Oh man,
they played a trailer for non first party games, and then said like
they paid for a slot and then went, now we're good.
No,
that
and that's
was
the
guy.
We called that like when we were covering E3 like as a part of the channel. Like we called that. We're like, that was a horrible presentation, and the Sony fanboys came out like in force. Like, that was the best, and it's like, are you blind? Like, because I'm like, I want Sony to win just as much as I want anybody to win. That was garbage. And then it's like, I think it's like they couldn't process it, and then eventually they're like, yeah, that conference wasn't good, and then the news.
I love Sony, but right now I want Microsoft to win, because Sony's winning too much.
Well, are they? Like, they had delays. Like this,
sales wise.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. They're selling off of like their brand, right? Yeah. Like you trust that like you're going to get God of War when it's ready, and so their delays like that was news this week. That's great. Sony's doing what Sony does. They're going to make their games amazing, and I think that's a great experience. It just sucks because like especially with nothing at E3, like are they going to do a state of play like once kind of all the E3 news has been processed and gamers are like, oh, that was fun, and then Sony comes out and says, okay, now it's our turn. Here's what you can look forward to.
Well, they do have some third-party exclusives. Like, we know that if Final Fantasy Origin, if it's called Origins or whatever it's called, does get announced, that's PS5 exclusive.
Mm-hmm. Forspoken. At least it's timed exclusive.
Yeah, 16.
Mm-hmm. 16.
The next 7 patch, or the next Final Fantasy 7.
The DLC.
Yep.
UV.
Also
part 2, probably.
So what does Square announce at Microsoft stage this year? They usually have a presence. And anybody think they're going to show up and announce a new Tomb Raider or something? Because they're bigger than just Final Fantasy, but yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Last year they made a big thing out of Tomb Raider, because it was like some even number of years or something. So last year was like a big Tomb Raider collection type moment. If I remember correctly. Time is weird. So yeah, they could come out and do that. They also have, like, is Kingdom Hearts coming off anything that would make sense?
They've got a load of Kingdom Hearts games to be announced this year. I think they've got like 3 titles. So
ain't insignificant.
DLC for Outriders.
That's not actually a
that's what they did with Avengers.
Yeah, like Avengers getting an expansion. We feel like Outriders is going to go off the expansion model. Really well received. Obviously bugs and issues, but this gives them another opportunity to be like, here's the next round of content updates, which has never been communicated. They never made a promise that this is a live. Like they've constantly said this is not a live service.
On the Microsoft Store.
The Outriders.
Yeah. And I told a buddy that it would be a good fit for him because he likes certain types of games and he's looking for a new game and he has Game Pass. And I was like, you should try Outriders. It's free. If you don't like it, then bail. Kind of just get started, just hop in. And he said, it's only got 2 stars. I said, it had a terrible launch. And he's like how bad? And I was like 2 stars bad. And then he opened up the reviews and it was won't start, won't boot, can't get the game to install. I was like, yep. And it's going to take a long time to fix that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of negative reviews to outweigh.
Yeah, I love the game. I really enjoy the gameplay. And the thing is that because it's not a live service model, like you beat it, and then you're like, that was awesome. Let me know when the next round of content is, which actually could be very healthy for that game because you're not trying to be something and compete with people who've been in the space for 10 years. Like you can't do less than what Destiny does, whether you like Destiny or not, and expect people to be like, that's great. They're just going to go back and play Destiny because the Destiny's going to have an update. And they did. They had their new season update. People go back and do that because content is king. So I don't know. Like, I think that kind of takes us into our second topic because thank you so much for checking out this highlight from Epic Loot Radio. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe button, and more. And check out our other channels, Ginger Gaming Radio, Ginger Prime, and Work to Game for more content. Thanks for being here, and you're awesome.